Hey everybody, this is the second real life superhero debut intro with the same costume, the blue and gray actual sweatsuit with the zipper, with actual sweatpants and the other accessories that go with it. Yeah, this is the same video, only this time, once again, this time Kurt Angle's Impact Wrestling theme will be my walkout song. The intro song will once again be Nick Flicks, Something You Can Never Own. I apologize for the situation with my dog in the previous version. So yeah, other than that, the taunts and mannerisms and everything else will be the same. So with that being said, let's get started right now.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you gon' do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. Have no regrets, yeah, outside of my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never own.
I'm fed up, dismissing the competition. You're hopeless, I'm trash, they're efficient. Listen, you want a class on tradition? My one condition, forget the best of the century. Talk about the best of all time, you better mention me. Essentially, I'm the best that's ever gonna be. I hold my ground, you never take it from under me. Don't run to me, it's gonna be trouble. I hit you so many times, you see triple or double instead of one of me. I got more heart, more way to tear you apart. I lay you down on the ground. Made it right, it's no different to me. If you tap out, cash out, or simply pass out for free. Cause you face down, really, barely alive. Cause I'm an animal inside, hear me? I'm what the game is supposed to be. Hopefully you see what I mean. Knock you out, have a scene. You were beaten by a triple team. Box you out the whole scene and clean. Alive like my dream, I shine bright. Smash you, front to back. You gon' need hindsight. In fact, when I attack, you're lucky if I need to attack. I'm prone to overkill. I work you over till I steal your motor skills. To sing whenever I'm done. You're numb, throw the thumb. Folks can't remember their name, or where they're from. And some speechless, slum, looking deaf and dumb. You're weak like 7 days. Dead afraid, I'm amazed. Don't still step up, cause I hit more men than Jenna Jameson in better days. You can't clear your head, you with a Jenna Hayes.
Hey everybody, it's time now for the first part of my large Street Fighter 2 victory overview and review. Now this series aired for 29 episodes, one season, but you know how I do. I like to split these long series. I like to split them up into parts, into parts of season. So the first 13 to 15 episodes will be season 1, and the second 14, which will make 29, is technically season 2 for me. That's how this review will go. Yeah, so yeah, this is my part 2 real life superhero. Part 2 Real Life Superhero, to see the original Part 1, the original Part 1, oh yeah, the original, actually my Part 3 Real Life Superhero, Part 4 Real Life Superhero review, to see the Part 3 and technically, and the Part 1, 2, and 3 narration and other webcam version, off-camera webcam version. The link will be in the description box below. But this right here is the what's his name. In this one, in the previous one, no, there was no footage or anything in the background. But in this one, in this real life superhero webcam review, you will hear footage of episode 8 for this portion, and for this portion, the season 1, and for season 2, episode 29, the final episode. So, with that being said, let me start the video. And make my grand entrance on the camera. Yeah, Street Fighter 2 victory. Street Fighter 2 victory, one of my all-time favorite animes, and in my opinion, the third best adaptation and form of Street Fighter media in the entire Street Fighter media franchise outside the video games. The 1995 American-Canadian cartoon, the Udon Comics, which is the supreme best right there, the Udon Comics, as they have everything from the games, and they've adapted every piece of bit of Street Fighter media, the Udon Comics, and the Alpha, the animation film, which came 4 to 5 years after this movie, after this television series right here. I consider those to be the supreme best. The second best is the Street Fighter 2 anime film, and the third best is this Street Fighter 2. Third best is Street Fighter 2 Victory. Once again, as a teenager, which when I saw this for the first time, just like the anime movie, just like the American cartoon and the live action movie, it was nothing short of awesome, because outside of the alliances, the good guys, Ryu, Kid and them, and the bad guys, Bison, Shadowloo and them, and small pieces of story that were in the games, there wasn't much storytelling in those video games, so it was hard to distinguish what happens in each game, and distinguish the difference between the video games and the various media based upon Street Fighter. So seeing this new version of Street Fighter, it was nothing short of awesome. However, when I got older and went online and read and learned more about the lore of Street Fighter, I didn't like turn on this series, but I started to look down on this series a little bit for its changes it made to the source material. I still like the series, because the series on its own is still a phenomenal series in anime. It's still a phenomenal series in anime, just like a Street Fighter 2 anime movie counterpart. Now, after understanding the lore even more and rewatching this, I think this is one of the greatest Street Fighter adaptations better. This unique adaptation is called Street Fighter 2, but it reminds me of a prototypical Street Fighter Alpha, Final Fight, Double Dragon, and even an SNK's Fatal Fury franchise is what this anime reminds me of. Anime reminds me of. The pros already are, I like the unique redesigned art style. I love the intense the intense anime style of fighting, just like the intense anime style of
What's the matter? What happened?
the intense anime style of fighting, and I love the English dub, especially that instrumental theme and that iconic Hadouken theme when Ryu and Ken are charging their
Next, please.
Hadoukens, and while the Street Fighter cast here is small, it's good. It's good. You got Ryu, Ken, Guile, Chun-Li, Fei Long in a large role. Love the large role Fei Long plays in this.
This job gets stranger every day.
Fei Long, Balrog, Cammy, Sagat. This version also had one of the best and most dramatic and sympathetic portrayals of Sagat of all time. Sagat,
Yeah,
Vega,
just checking for drugs, looking for smugglers, you know.
Vega,
Big problem with that.
Bison, and Charlie with a different appearance. As this show predates his actual appearance in Alpha, and last but not least, Akuma in cameo appearances. He doesn't play. Just like in He doesn't play a big role. I'll talk about Akuma in the second part, not this part. But what else about yeah, that's the cast. Unfortunately, DJ Blanca, Aiden, E Honda, and many more didn't make the cut. Zangief is here too. I forgot. But the other Street Fighters unfortunately didn't make the cut. But yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're under arrest for transportation of heroin.
Yeah. So yeah. The second season is way better. The second season is way better than the first. The first several episodes of the series. Before I get to the season grades, let's talk about the storyline. Like I said, this is a loose adaptation. This is a loose adaptation of Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2. Despite being from the same creators, this is neither a sequel nor prequel to the anime film, despite the fact that most of the cast from that anime film come back here. This adapts the Street Fighter characters in a shonen action adventure fight anime. Ryu and Ken,
We're not real fond of guessing games here in Thailand.
Ryu and Ken, two Azazuken practitioners and martial artists.
Let me ask you again, who were you delivering it for, and who was
martial artists are in this version depicted way younger. They should be in their late 20s, early 30s at the time of Street Fighter 2. But in this version, their birthdays are changed to the late 70s, putting them at 17 years old. Yeah, this show was created in 1995 and it aired from 1995 to early April 1997. And the show takes place in the time it was created. Ryu and Ken.
You see, Thailand, along with Cambodia and Laos,
Ryu and Ken, after sneaking into a nightclub,
you must understand,
they get their butts kicked by Guile. They get their butts kicked by Guile after beating up all of Guile's men, which is another thing I didn't like, but I don't mind it as much now that I understood why they did it. I didn't like the changes they made to Ryu and Ken's personality. They made Ken's personalities. They made them young, arrogant, and inexperienced compared to the powerhouses they are in the video games and anime movies, and Udon comic books. One thing I couldn't stand about this is the one thing, the anime and the 1995 cartoon. A lot of people consider the anime to be superior to the 1995 cartoon. I consider the anime superior in tone, action, in tone,
Trust me.
action,
I've met hundreds of kids
and
with the same innocent
character
expression on their
artwork.
faces as
However, I
you've got.
prefer the American
But if it's too
cartoon.
late to
Its
save
art
them.
style is truer to the
Believe
game.
me, I know.
It's truer
But
to the
until then, I'm
game.
not involved in
It's true to
drugs.
the game. The show is much funnier, much more.
Something tells me that you
The show
might
is
be
much
right.
more funny and more
I'm beginning
entertaining,
to
and
think you may not
features
be
more.
involved after all.
It
Then you'll
features
let me
more
go?
characters and lore from Street Fighter 2 video game lore.
We still
But,
found a large amount of pure heroin
But
in your backpack.
one thing,
Now maybe
this
you're right,
cartoon
that man with the
and
mask
this
and the
movie and the
scarf planted
cartoon,
for revenge.
I mean this
But I'm
animated
afraid you
television
don't have
series and the
any
cartoon make one
Unless
more
you can
mistake
produce
is I
this
hate
guy,
how
come up with some other
weak
proof.
the Street
You're gonna
Fighters
have to put you
were,
in prison.
especially Ryu. Weak the Street Fighters were compared to the powerhouses they are in the games and other
Take him away.
Street Fighter media.
If I find the guy that did this to me,
Show us that he
Ryu and
framed you and you'll be
Ken
free.
were depicted
But in
as,
prison,
I
I don't
understand
think we'll
Ken,
have much of a
but
chance to
Ryu,
find him.
who was
Well,
always
let's see if I can
stoic,
surprise
and
that guy.
humble, in the games was depicted as young, brash, inexperienced, arrogant, and cocky. And I didn't like that. That's Ken and Dan
Ryu,
Hibiki's. That's their territory. It's not
Don't give up hope. I'll
Ryu.
find the guy
That's
that
not
did this to you and you'll be
Ryu.
free
But
again.
I understood
Can I
why
have
he did
your
it. I
money?
understood why he did it.
Ken, he had a scar on his cheek.
I understood why he did. It was a character
Just stay out of
development
the way of the
thing.
other
See, this
prisoners.
was the earlier versions of the
Just stay
characters.
cool, all right?
I was supposed to be a
Ryu.
prototype, a younger version of the characters, and then they would slowly and slowly over the course of the series grow and become the characters. They become their namesake characters. I'll talk more about that when I get to part 2. But yeah, what else about this? So yeah, they after getting their butts handed to them by Guile, they later learn they have a lot to learn as fighters and martial artists, and a lot of growing up to do. So they set out on a worldwide journey to fight and test their skills against the best fighters in the world, and this takes them all over the world fighting various drug cartels, mafias, triads, and all sorts of foes. The first 7 episodes were, like I said before I get to the episodes, season 1 was like a lot of 90s cartoons. Season 1 was weak. It was the introductory arc. It introduced you to Ryu, Ken, Guile, Chun-Li, Fei Long, Cammy, Balrog, Zangief, Sagat, and all the characters who would play a bigger part in part 2. It was the introductory arc. Introductory arc. So season one was weak. Season 1 was weak. The story doesn't pick up until episode 8, which I'm about to get to. Season 2 was vastly superior, but this is season 1. The story, the first 7 episodes were kind of terrible and weak. They were entertaining, they were terrible and weak. The series picks up at episode 8, where Ryu, which you're listening to in the background, Ryu is framed for drugs, heroin possession when some smuggler in an ensuing chaos bumps into someone, causing someone to bump into Ryu, and he slips it into Ryu's bag, unknown to Ryu, and Ryu is caught with it in jail, Ryu gets into a fight with the other prisoners, their leader is none other than the video game counterpart of Sagat. And just like the American cartoon, this anime predicted Sagat's babyface turn. As this cartoon, this anime featured the most tragic depiction of Sagat. Sagat in this version was an honorable warrior, Muay Thai warrior, the god of Muay Thai, just like in the video games, whose career was ruined and destroyed by shadowing. He was framed and sent to prison. He initially wants to beat some respect into the young Ryu, but during their fight, they gain respect for each other. And they're punished by a ruthless warden. When Sagat is punished by a ruthless warden, Ryu defends him and earns the respect of Sagat and the other prisoners one day, and Ryu is later released from prison, promising to fight Sagat again. So this is when the story picks up, and officially this anime, which the beginning is just some random shonen anime, officially becomes Street Fighter. The characters begin their journey to becoming Street Fighter, and more characters from the video game are introduced. More characters from the video game are introduced. So yeah, episode 8 through 13 and 15 were the best. With 13, I think it's 13 or 12, where Dulcie is introduced, and this is where Ryu and Ken learn more about Dawson. Yeah, with of course Dawson, he's given the martial arts teacher role. He's the one who teaches Ryu and Ken more about the spiritual energy and more about the Hadouken. They later learn more about the Hadouken through their meetings with Dulcie. They later learn more about themselves, how arrogant and brash they were when they fought Gao. Another, even though episodes 1 through 7 were weak, another decent episode was Fei Long's episode where him and Ken have a sparring match on a movie set, because in Fei Long's story, all of the stuntmen he fights were weak, and people like Ken and Ryan are the ones who can challenge his skills, which is true to the Fei Long character. Fei Long, he's a movie actor who entered the Street Fighter tournaments. He entered the Street Fighter tournaments and went on this worldwide quest like Ryan and Ken to find the best fight possible, because the stuntmen he was fighting with were weak. So yeah, Chun-Li is introduced. Chun-Li, she's depicted as being young like Ryu. She's actually the same, except she's more younger and more bubbly and cheerful compared to the stoic character she is in the video game. But that's because she's much younger. She's like 17 years old here versus being in her mid to late 20s, early 30s, like she is in the video games, like she is in the early video games. So yeah, what else about this? Oh yeah, so yeah, this was season 1. Get ready for season 2 coming next. Alright people, it's now time for the second and final part to my Street Fighter 2 Victory review and overview series. This is the season 2 portion. Episodes 15, 16 through 29 with 24 through 29. I like all, but with 24 through 29 being the best. 29 will play in the background. Yeah, this one will be shorter because I don't remember much after the Dulcie introduction. So yeah, let me start the episode in the background and get started right now. Street Fighter 2. So yes, for season 2. Season 2 was vastly superior to season 1, but wasn't as memorable. Because there's so much happening. But season 2, the season 2 is where it gets better. The tail end of the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2 is where it gets better, because now we get into more Street Fighter lore. Once again, more characters from the Street Fighter series. Who were all introduced in season 1. Their return here this season with larger roles. Ryu and Ken, their street fighting talents, just like in the anime movie, attract the attention of Bison. And Bison ends up kidnapping both. Did he kidnap both? Oh yeah, he ends up kidnapping Ken and Ryu he ends up kidnapping Ken and Chun-Li, and Ryu goes to rescue them, and Guile is charged. Guile, even though he doesn't like them, is charged with rescuing them, and Chun-Li, pretty much playing a similar role to what he played in the anime film. Only difference between Guile here is that this Guile is depicted as weaker than his anime counterpart. He's still superhumanly strong, but he doesn't do his signature maneuvers. He doesn't do his signature sonic boom. He does the flash kick on Ryu, but he doesn't do his signature maneuvers. He doesn't do his signature sonic boom maneuver. Like I said, this is one of the issues I had with the cartoon, with the cartoons, with both the television series. But at least the the American cartoon had the sonic boom, and the flash kick. This had the flash kick, but no sonic boom. And then he ends up getting into a fight with Zangief. Which, once again, this was the biggest problem I had. This is every adaptation except for the 1994 live-action film and the Udon comic books. When it came to Zangief, even the Japanese, which the Japanese, their animes are supposed to be closer to the video games, they keep making Zangief a bad guy. They keep grouping him together with the Shadaloo, with the Shadaloo members. When in the video games, that's not the case. He opposes them in the video games, and in every version, he is always not only a member of Shadaloo, he's always a lackey. The 1994 live-action movie and the Udon comics are the only ones to get it right. Yes, in 1994 he was with Shadaloo, but only because he thought his boss, Bison, was the enemy. He thought his boss, Bison, was the good guys. He didn't know his boss, like DJ said, was the enemy of justice and peace, and that the AN and everyone have come from all over the world to stop him. And then he changed sides at the end when he finally learned the truth. And when he was depicted as so stupid, he didn't realize he was fighting on the same side. So they were still true to the character in that movie. And in the Udon comics, has him in a role similar to his video game counter. He's basically neutral. He's friends with people like Honda and Blanca. He's friends with people like Honda and Blanca and many more Street Fighters, but he's not affiliated with Shadaloo, and he's not affiliated with the Ryu and Ken and them either. He's sort of like neutral towards them, which is what Zangief should be. So yeah, Ken has a brutal, memorable, bloody fight with Vega that is in traumatic fashion with Vega, or even Vega Vega has something happened to where either he lost consciousness or his body did, but Vega in his last bout still tries to kill Ken even when the fight is fruitless, and Ken gives him a powerful Shoryuken. Shoryuken. When Bison kidnaps Chun-Li fully transforms into her Street Fighter 2 counterpart. He gets her into an outfit that's similar to her Street Fighter 2 outfit. Balrog, his backstory is left intact, even though he's more of a Shadaloo agent here than he is a fighter, but it's still Balrog. And Cammy, her backstory and her is left intact, and she beats up and turns in Balrog. And in the final battle, Ryu and Ken finally their destiny is complete. Ryu and Ken finally learn why they have power, the purpose of the Dark Hadouken, and why they practice martial arts, and that it wasn't for personal glory like they were originally going for in the beginning. No, it was to use those skills, to use that power to save the world from people like Bison, and they used that power just like in the anime film at the end, the double Hadoukens to destroy Bison. There's also, before that scene, there's also when Ryu approaches a door, blocking his way to both Ken and Bison. Ryu, and there's no way to open the door. He does a long ceremony to charge the Hadouken, and the English version has this epic music that plays in the background. And Ryu throws it and knocks it down. That's one of the more memorable scenes, along with the recap. And the next episode editions, you have the English announcer saying, "Get ready to burn some muscle." That sounds like something you would hear in Street Fighter. Yeah, despite how entertaining and awesome this show was, much to my surprise, I learned this from another review not named the Omnit one, something like that. I think that's the name. It's some giant O word. I don't remember what it was. But he reviews lots of anime. He's reviewed this, and he's also reviewed Ronin Warriors, which I'm going to talk about in the future. But when it comes to Street Fighter 2 Victory, he mentioned that this anime, it wasn't well received in Japan. It wasn't well received in Japan, and that's shocking because most people, it was more popular here than it was in Japan, and that's shocking because despite the liberties, it is entertaining. And speaking of the liberties, and yeah, one thing I like. See, like I said in the beginning, I had a problem with the changes. When I got older, I had a problem with those changes. But now, understanding the adaptation and what they were doing, I like how this in its own unique way leads right into Street Fighter 2, the video game series. Everyone was slowly becoming their characters. This is supposed to be, see, when Street Fighter came out, it was just Street Fighter 1 and then the original Street Fighter 2, then the update Turbo, which added the 4 new challengers and later added Akuma. It wasn't until after this series was poorly received. Now this part I knew. I didn't know the series was poorly received, but this part I knew. They canceled the series to develop their own prequel to Street Fighter, the Street Fighter 2, and sequel to Street Fighter 1, and that would be Street Fighter Alpha, which bridges the gap between Street Fighter 1 and 2. Street Fighter 1 and 2, and that's the thing. But this is supposed to be their own version of what happened before Street Fighter 2. And you see how it leads right into Street Fighter 2. And according to that guy, they were also planning to finally introduce Akuma into the story, who made numerous cameos here, just like he did in the Street Fighter 2 anime film. Yeah, great loose adaptation of Street Fighter, and all of these Street Fighter adaptations are their own universe. It doesn't matter how much Capcom says is canon. The only true, I'm not going to say they're all non-canon. And it's not that they're non-canon, it's just they're not canon to the main time. They're not canon to the main timeline. Each one is its own separate timeline and universe. The main canon is the Street Fighter 2 video games, not even the Udon comics, which I thought was the Street Fighter games in comic book form. That's the closest, but no, it's very different from the video games. So people complain. Me complaining about this being non-canon doesn't matter. Other people don't mind the fact this is not canon. But for the people who says this is canon and says things like the American cartoon is not canon, that's not the case. That's not the case here. Neither are canon. They're both their own alternate timeline of Street Fighter. The main canon is the video game storyline and lore. Like the YouTube user, The Fighter Den, said, all of this is an alternate timeline and someone else's vision of Street Fighter. So yeah, Street Fighter 2 Victory. I'm bringing the post-episode review and reactions back to talk more in depth about what happens in each episode. And I want to do as many Street Fighter reviews as possible. So yeah, to see the previous Street Fighter Victory videos I did, the two narrations and the off-camera version, the links will be in the description box below. You don't want to hear the rest of the music? Turn the video off right now.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. Have no regrets, yeah, outside of my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in dead. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and you like to what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and you like to what you want. Give me all the scars, I'm a human being. Cover them with tattoos so you can't see. Knew it from the start, you had problems with me and the things I could be, I just wish I had seen. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. I feel this pain, you already